Most men have no idea how powerful it is when a woman realizes she no longer has your full attention. They think showing less interest will make her walk away. But here's the truth. When a woman feels you pulling away, something shifts in her. Her pride kicks in. Her ego lights up. And if she ever had feelings for you, even slightly, your distance becomes louder than your words ever were. Modern dating has created a dangerous imbalance. Men chase, women sit back, men overgive, women overthink. But the moment a man breaks that pattern, when he stops chasing, stops checking in, stops being available, that's when a woman starts to feel. That's when her emotions get activated. And most men don't get to see that reaction because they never step back long enough to witness it. When a woman senses that your focus is no longer on her, it challenges everything she assumed. Suddenly she wonders why you're not trying anymore. She starts stalking your stories, texting at random times, bringing up memories out of nowhere. That shift? That's not random. That's reaction. That's her pride being tested. This isn't about playing games. It's about understanding dynamics. Most women are used to being the prize, but when the prize starts walking away, they panic. And if you're the kind of man who knows how to hold his ground, you'll watch her do things you never thought she would. In this video, I'll break down the exact changes in her behavior when she realizes she's no longer your priority. These are not theories. These are real reactions that happen when a man regains his power. Let's get into it. 1. She tries to get your attention. The moment a woman senses that you're no longer fully invested, her first instinct is to pull you back in. Not with love, not with vulnerability, but with attention tactics. You'll start to notice subtle shifts. The girl who used to ignore your messages now replies faster. The one who always seemed busy is suddenly checking in. That's not coincidence. That's calculated. Her mind is racing, wondering why the energy changed. And because she doesn't want to lose the upper hand, she starts trying to get a reaction out of you. She might post thirst traps online, carefully crafted, to make you notice her. But she won't send them to you directly. No, she wants you to see them and wonder. She'll post cryptic captions, throwback pictures, inside jokes. Her goal isn't to communicate, it's to provoke. She wants to know if you still care, and the only way she can measure that is through your response. The moment you slide into her DM again, she wins. But when you stay quiet, she starts to feel the heat of your silence. This is where most men fold. They see a sign of life and come crawling back. Don't. If she didn't value your attention when you were giving it freely, she doesn't deserve it now that you've pulled back. Her sudden interest isn't real desire. It's panic. It's a defense mechanism against rejection. She wants the validation back, not the man. And if you give it too soon, she'll go right back to ignoring you. You'll also notice she starts showing up in places she knows you'll see her. Maybe she watches every story you post. Maybe she starts going to events or hangouts where she knows you might show up. These aren't coincidences. Women are strategic when they feel they're losing control. They don't chase like men do, but they position themselves to be chased again. And the most effective way to do that is to reappear in your world just enough to trigger emotion. In some cases, she'll even try to make you jealous. Mentioning other guys, posting pictures with male friends, suddenly being so busy with this new project. It's not real, it's bait. She wants to know if you'll bite. Because if you do, she gets the upper hand again. What you do in this moment defines everything. If you engage too early, she pulls back. But if you keep standing still, you force her to reveal her hand. A woman trying to get your attention is a woman who feels your absence. That means you're doing something right. Don't ruin it by needing validation. Stay grounded, stay silent, and watch her unravel. When a woman feels you've lost interest, her ego can't handle the silence. She will try to pull you back in. But it's not love, it's a test, and your silence is the answer. 2. She starts questioning herself. When a woman realizes you're no longer chasing her, the silence you leave behind becomes louder than anything you ever said to her. That's when the real mental war begins, not with you, but within herself. She starts questioning everything. Her confidence takes a hit, and for the first time in the dynamic, she's the one unsure. At first, she'll try to tell herself that you're just busy, or maybe you're playing hard to get. But when that distance stays consistent, she starts spiraling. She replays your conversations. She reads old texts. She starts wondering if she said something wrong. She begins to doubt her looks, her energy, her choices. The attention that once made her feel in control is now gone, and she starts feeling like she's losing her grip. And for many women, that's unfamiliar territory. A lot of men don't realize that women often walk through dating with an invisible sense of entitlement, not out of arrogance, but because they're used to being pursued. They're used to being admired. When a man stops doing that, she doesn't just notice it, she internalizes it. She starts asking, was I not enough? And that question becomes a slow burn inside her. This is when she'll start paying closer attention to herself in the mirror. She might change her hair, alter her style, or even post more frequently to see what sticks. She's not just trying to impress the world, she's trying to measure her value again. Because in her mind, your lack of interest has become a reflection of her worth. That's how deep it cuts. And the wild part, she won't talk about this to her friends. She'll pretend everything is fine, tell them she doesn't care, even lie to herself. But behind the scenes, she's analyzing every interaction. Why did he stop texting? Why isn't he watching my stories? Did he meet someone else? Her curiosity turns to anxiety. That anxiety turns to insecurity. And that insecurity makes her either act out or pull back in confusion. Sometimes she'll even try to reverse the roles. She may give you a taste of coldness just to see if you'll react, hoping to gain back the emotional upper hand. But deep down, she's not playing cool because she doesn't care. She's playing cool because she's confused, frustrated, and scared that she's no longer the one in control. The problem is, most men don't stay silent long enough to let this stage finish. They panic the moment they see her distancing too, not knowing she's only doing it to protect her pride. But if you stay composed and keep your energy on yourself, you give her space to feel the weight of your absence. That's when she starts realizing just how much power you are actually carrying in the dynamic. A woman questioning herself after you lose interest isn't weakness on her part. It's a wake-up call. She's seeing the cost of your withdrawal, and the longer you remain unbothered, the louder that wake-up call becomes in her mind. 3. She gets emotionally restless. Emotional restlessness is the stage where her inner tension starts leaking into her outer world. This is when she's no longer just thinking about you in silence. She starts reacting in ways that expose the storm going on inside her. A woman may appear calm and composed, but when she senses that your interest has faded, her emotions stop cooperating with her mask. The cracks begin to show. You'll see this restlessness in her behavior. She becomes inconsistent. One day she might reach out with a simple "hey," as if everything is normal. The next day she disappears completely, hoping you're the one who'll chase. But when you don't, her mind spins. Emotional restlessness doesn't always look dramatic. It often shows up in subtle ways. She might post more often, overshare her feelings on social media, or throw random comments into the wind that clearly aren't meant for the public. They're for you. This is where her pride and emotions start fighting each other. Her pride tells her not to care. Her emotions say otherwise. That battle creates chaos. She starts overthinking. Should she text you? Should she ask what happened? Should she pretend she's unbothered? Nothing brings her peace. Because when a man truly pulls away, not with pettiness but with composure, it messes with her emotional rhythm. The women who usually get attention without effort are hit the hardest during this phase. Their identity has been wrapped around being wanted, being chased, being adored. But now, the silence they once used as a power move is being used against them, and they don't know how to handle it. She wants to be angry at you, but she can't find a reason. You didn't cheat. You didn't curse her out. You simply detached. And that makes it worse. She may become irritable with others. Friends notice she's not her usual self. Small things bother her. She loses focus. And while she might not say your name out loud, she's thinking about you more than ever. Her emotional state is tied to your energy, and now that it's missing, her spirit is unsettled. Some women go the extra mile during this phase. They might reach out directly with a fake excuse, asking a pointless question, bringing up an old conversation, pretending they just saw something that reminded them of you. That's not coincidence. That's her trying to find a crack in your wall. She's restless, and reaching out is her way of trying to restore emotional balance, even if it's only temporary. But here's the key. Don't respond emotionally. Don't jump back in because she seems to be missing you. Emotional restlessness isn't the same as genuine effort. It's a reaction, not a decision. If you let her sit in that discomfort long enough, she'll either mature into clarity or walk away still confused. But either way, She'll never forget the way you made her feel just by stepping back. That's the kind of power most men never learn to use, but once you do, everything changes. Section 4. She starts competing with other women. When a woman feels that your interest is no longer fixed on her, she immediately starts scanning your world for competition. Even if there's no other woman in the picture, she'll imagine one. That's how deep her emotional pride runs. She can handle distance, she can handle silence, but what she can't handle is the idea that another woman might have your attention, especially after she's had it all to herself. This is where you start seeing her become unusually performative. Suddenly, she's showing off more than she used to. Not just physically, but socially. She's louder online, she's highlighting her lifestyle. She wants to make you think she's still winning without you, but it's not about her living life, it's about proving something. She wants to show you that she's still desirable, that other men want her, that if you've lost interest, someone else hasn't. It's her ego trying to save face. She wants you to regret pulling away, and the only way she knows how to spark that emotion is by appearing like she's already moved on, and like others are lining up to take your place. She may start interacting with men you know, posting pictures with them, tagging them, or laughing under their comments. Not because she's into them, but because she knows you'll see it. Her whole strategy becomes indirect warfare. She won't call you, she won't admit she's hurt, but she'll create a narrative that says, "Look what you're missing." It's competition disguised as confidence. But here's where it gets interesting. The more energy she puts into competing with imaginary women, the more obvious it becomes that you still have power in her mind. A woman who's truly over you doesn't need to prove anything to you. She doesn't showcase her value. She moves on quietly. So when you start seeing signs that she's going out of her way to show off, that's your confirmation. She hasn't let go. This emotional competitiveness is deeply tied to a woman's sense of identity. If she felt like the prize before, she now feels threatened. She wants to get that position back. And because she suspects another woman might be taking her place, even if it's just in your mind, she steps up her game. But ironically, the harder she tries to make you jealous, the more obvious it becomes that she's lost emotional control. And what should you do? Nothing. Don't comment. Don't like. Don't respond. Because once she realizes she can't win the competition she created in her head, she starts looking inward. She starts thinking about what she lost, not what you lost. That's the turning point. When a woman can no longer get your attention by flaunting herself or comparing herself to others, she starts to genuinely feel your absence, not just react to it. You don't have to show up with another woman to make her compete. Your indifference is enough, because when you detach properly, even her imagination becomes your ally. 5. She acts like she doesn't care. This is one of the most deceptive stages and one of the most misunderstood by men. When a woman starts acting like she doesn't care that you've lost interest, it's rarely a sign that she actually doesn't. It's a defense, a mask, a performance crafted to convince you, herself, and the people around her that she's unfazed. But behind that cool girl image is a storm she's trying hard to suppress. You'll notice this phase because she becomes emotionally numb on purpose. She avoids bringing your name up, doesn't like or engage with anything connected to you, and may even start pushing the idea that she's so over it to her friends or social media. Her captions get bolder, her stories get louder, she acts like she's in full control. But what's really happening underneath is something very different. She's avoiding the feeling of being rejected. The moment a woman realizes you've stopped chasing her, something deep inside her starts to ache. But for a lot of women, showing that ache is out of the question. Vulnerability feels like weakness. So instead of showing pain, she puts up a wall. That wall is made of sarcasm, forced happiness, fake nonchalance, and exaggerated independence. She wants to show you that your absence means nothing, but it does, a lot. She'll post things like protecting my peace, letting go of what no longer serves me, or if you wanted to, you would. All of it is scripted from a place of emotional self-preservation. The truth is, she does want you to. She does care. She's just not ready to admit it, not to you and not to herself. Because once she admits she cared and you stopped caring, she has to face the pain. And that's what she's really running from. Men often make the mistake of responding to this performance. They believe the act, they see her smiling in selfies and laughing in videos and think she's clearly fine. So they reach out, they check in, they try to re-engage. That's a trap. Because when you come back too early, all you do is reinforce her belief that she still has emotional control. She didn't lose you. She just had to pretend for a little while, and now you're back. She wins. But if you hold the line, if you stay silent through her act, something starts to shift inside her. The act gets harder to maintain. The fake smiles drain her. The captions feel empty. And that cool girl mask starts to crack. Because no matter how much she pretends she doesn't care, the one thing she can't fake is emotional peace. And the longer you stay unbothered, the louder your absence becomes. Eventually, she has to confront the truth. She does care. You mattered. And acting like you didn't never actually erase the feeling. This stage is crucial. It's the tipping point between real detachment and regret. If you stay composed, you force her to deal with her real emotions. That's where the breakthrough begins. 6. She tries to reconnect subtly after acting like she didn't care. After pretending to have moved on and showing off her independence, a woman will eventually realize that none of that brought her the peace she expected. That's when something important happens. She shifts from performance to subtle reconnection. No more public games, no more loud distractions. Now she starts reaching out in quiet, calculated ways. And you'll miss it if you're not paying attention. She won't come out and say, "I miss you." Most women won't give you that kind of emotional advantage, especially after you've pulled away. Instead, she'll test the waters. She'll send a message that seems casual, maybe a meme, a joke, or something random that reminded her of you. But that message isn't random. It's her olive branch. She wants to know if the door is still open. She wants to feel like there's still a small connection. That message is her version of vulnerability, masked as light conversation. Some women take even subtler routes. They may view your stories, like an old post, or randomly comment on something without tagging you directly. They're trying to place themselves back in your awareness. It's like emotional breadcrumbing. She doesn't want to seem obvious, but she also doesn't want to be forgotten. Her fear now is that you've truly moved on, that someone else has taken her place, and that maybe, just maybe, she waited too long to do something about it. Now this is where most men make their biggest mistake. The moment she shows a little softness, they come rushing back. They flood her with attention again. They interpret her small signal as a green light to resume the old dynamic. But that kills the effect. The entire purpose of subtle reconnection is to test your emotional strength. If you respond too eagerly, you fail that test. She realizes she still has the power to flip your emotions, and once she confirms that, her attraction fades all over again. Instead, you need to maintain your position. Respond calmly if it makes sense, but never rush back. Keep the conversation short. Polite, unemotional. Let her feel that while you're not cold, you're no longer emotionally invested either. That's when the shift inside her deepens. She begins to wonder, why isn't he acting like before? That thought plants the seed of regret. And regret is the doorway to genuine reflection. Some women will try to reconnect through mutual friends. They'll ask about you. They'll find indirect ways to monitor your emotional state. Others might show up at places where they know you'll be. Again, not by accident. It's all part of the subtle re-entry strategy. She's trying to close the gap without looking weak. She's trying to find her way back without having to say, "I miss you." Let her try, let her reach. That's not your cue to chase, it's your moment to lead. Real power is being wanted and not needing to react. When you hold that frame, she realizes you're no longer the same man she once knew. You've grown, and that makes you even more attractive. 7. She breaks down or fully detaches. After the subtle attempts to reconnect, there are two possible outcomes. Either she breaks down emotionally or she completely detaches from the situation. Both are significant, but in very different ways. Understanding these outcomes can be the key to determining where your relationship stands and what you should do next. Let's start with the emotional breakdown. If a woman genuinely cares about you, she can only hold up the wall of indifference for so long. Eventually, the weight of the silence, the distance, and the lack of engagement takes its toll on her. At some point, the emotional barrier she's built will crack. She might admit to herself, or even to you, that she's been holding on to feelings that can no longer be ignored. The longer you stay emotionally detached, the more intense this breakdown becomes. She realizes that her pride, her attempts to move on, and her calculated games weren't enough to shield her from the truth. She misses you. and that missing you isn't just about a physical absence, it's the emotional void she's now forced to confront. When this breakdown happens, it's not always pretty. You'll see a shift in her communication. It might come through as desperation, guilt, or even anger. She could text or call in frustration, saying things like, "Why are you acting like this?" or "What happened to us?" She may even apologize or try to make sense of what went wrong. This is the moment when she realizes that your absence, your nonchalance, has hit her harder than anything she's been willing to admit. For some women, this emotional release is the first step toward real growth and reflection. It can be an honest attempt to reclaim the connection that was lost. However, the other outcome is just as possible: complete detachment. If the emotional breakdown doesn't come, she might instead shut down altogether. This could be her final form of self-protection. If she sees no way back into your emotional sphere, and if she believes that she's been completely replaced or is no longer valuable to you, she might decide to walk away completely. This detachment isn't always about moving on with someone else. It's a decision to emotionally disconnect and move forward without you in the picture at all. She may still have feelings, but she chooses to ignore them because they are no longer reciprocated. For her, it's self-preservation. She can't keep fighting for someone who isn't fighting back. This phase can be especially painful for both parties. For you, it might feel like a final loss, the last signal that things are truly over. But for her, it's the hard realization that she couldn't get you back into her world, even after all the games, the distance, and the emotional chaos. She might begin to emotionally retreat, block you on social media, or make sharp cuts to prevent herself from being triggered by memories of you. Here's where you need to understand the power of your own actions. The emotional breakdown, or full detachment, means she's faced with the reality that your interest isn't easily won back. If she breaks down and reaches out, it's her admission that the distance you created has caused a deep reflection within her.